Hello and welcome to HomeTech. HomeTech is a podcast dedicated to discovering and exploring new and old technologies for the home. We discuss news about the Internet of Things, home automation, and more. I'm Seth Johnson in Florida, and I'm joined by Jason Griffin in Los Angeles. This is episode 2, The Internet of Things.
Welcome to the Home Tech Podcast. Good to have you here. I'm Jason Griffin in Los Angeles, California, and I'm joined by Seth Johnson out in Florida. How are you doing, Seth?
Doing well. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing great. Busy as ever, but excited to sit down and talk with you tonight. We're going to cover the Internet of Things in this episode, which is obviously an exciting topic, and looking forward to covering that topic with you and seeing some of your thoughts on that.
We're certainly seeing more and more devices on the internet, so I guess it's kind of one of those logical things that people just say, Internet of Things, but
right,
doesn't make much sense to most people. I don't think if you were to walk around saying that. So
still a little fuzzy for most people.
It's fuzzy for me too. I mean, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, that's very true. It was definitely a hot topic at CES recently, which just wrapped up.
Yep.
But I watched some of the videos and some of the coverage of CES, and it still feels like a technology that's in its infancy. I mean, it's got a great deal of buzz and a ton of potential, but yeah, it still feels like a bit of a gray area.
Yeah. It's well, we're in the infancy stages, so there's going to be a lot of things moving and shaking and new things coming to market. Like we discussed last week, and just different things coming in and out that just kind of have to pay attention to.
Yeah. So speaking of new things coming into the market, big news pulling out of the market in home automation this week was Verizon. Verizon pulled the plug on its home automation platform, which I was never too clear on their business model, anyways, to begin with on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they'll probably come around to regretting doing it. In a couple of years, they'll probably be sitting around a boardroom table going, "Why aren't we doing this?"
Yeah.
And a couple of them will remember, "Oh yeah, we did that back in 2014. Yeah. We got out of it."
I felt like it was kind of a weird offering because it was sort of branded as a DIY solution, but you still paid this 10%, I guess, monitoring charge. I don't know. I was never totally clear on that. And I guess they just decided that it wasn't worth the effort. So they've officially announced this week that they're going to pull out and discontinue that product. In semi-related news, Comcast made a big move this week and purchased Time Warner, and that was very big news. And it's still pending. There's still, pending review, antitrust, and all of that. But the proposed deal, I believe, is about $45 billion in all stock options. So big news in the world of cable providers and home automation as well.
I'm just betting that that all that money is going to go right to customer service,
yeah,
and faster internet speeds. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. We definitely need more diversity in our service providers, and with these guys merging, or the potential of them merging, takes us down to 3 major internet providers in the U.S. I think Cox, Comcast, Time Warner, and there's one other one that I'm not familiar with that's out there somewhere. And of course you have Verizon and kind of getting into the field with Fios, but they're not major. And you have like small things, operations that you hear about, like Google Fiber. But man, it's not gonna be a good day if if we only have one monopoly driven internet provider in these areas. We're not going to get fast speeds here in the U.S. anytime soon. Yeah,
I agree. I think the future's in fiber. I don't think a lot of people are really debating that too much. But yeah, Verizon and Google Fiber, they've got limited market penetration at this point. So really, it's it's very big news that Comcast and Time Warner are going to merge. It says, story I read, they're going to have they potentially would have a combined 30 million customers, and I don't know, when you compare that to DirecTV has about 20 million, so size wise, not it doesn't scream monopoly, right? Like when you look at those numbers, but I think there's a lot more concern with Time Warner and Comcast and companies like that, because they're providing not just TV, right, but they're also providing our data and networks. Right. And there's been a lot of news, and we don't want to go down the rabbit hole of net neutrality and all that.
Oh no, that's a different show altogether.
Yeah, but there's a lot of news going on related to this right now. So it is a big story, and definitely one that I will be keeping my eye on.
And I think Comcast has a home automation piece too, just like Verizon did. I think they had a similar offering.
Yeah, they do. They do. I don't know a lot about it because Comcast is not available here in Los Angeles, where I live. But it sounds like it's a
count your blessings.
Offering. What? I'm sorry.
Exit count your blessings.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, no, it does sound like a similar offering, a do-it-yourself $10 a month range. And I don't know a lot about it, but the big boys are all trying to play in home automation, and I think that it's a sign of things to come. But I don't think that the technology is quite there yet, where they're really going to be able to sell these as just simple services. I think home automation still requires a level of hands-on installation and oversight that I don't know that they're really staffed to provide.
No, I agree. I've only come across one of these systems in the wild. It looked interesting, and the install was not all that great, but it looked like it did the job that he was wanting it to do, and he could pull up some cameras inside of his house and see remotely if a door was open. So I mean, for the basics, it's something there, and a good service for some part of the market out there, and that market's going to get larger too. So
yeah, for the right application, definitely. Speaking of the market getting larger, I see Control4 earnings up 17%.
That's what it looks like over last year. So Control4 is a home automation. It's not a do-it-yourself or home automation system. It's sold to a dealer network, and they're probably more open than something like Crestron, where you have to have a serious programmer to get in there and make changes. I know that Control4 offers a consumer level software where you could go in and make changes to some parts of the system and rename devices and that kind of thing. So I'm actually a Control4 dealer at my business daytime, and I really don't know much about it, but it exists.
yeah, I forget what it's called. I don't work much with Control4 now. We do have some systems out there, and we still support them, but we're not, to be honest, selling a ton of it right now. But I mean, it's a good product for the right client.
Definitely,
and, they do, I feel like, sort of fill a void somewhere in between the pure do-it-yourself solution and the completely custom Crestron-based home automation system. I feel like Control4 does sit somewhere in that gap. It's not a do-it-yourself solution per se, but like you said, they do offer a little bit more access to their software and give homeowners who are so inclined the option to do a little bit of programming themselves, and that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a different approach for sure. So it can be a little bit divisive in the professional automation circles. But
I think it has been in the past, but you can see by going to the shows that they're definitely have a huge chunk of the market. I think they're sitting happily at number 2 and have put some of the older, more established brands like AMX or Elan much further down the line, and Crestron's still hanging in there. So
well, I think they realize the same sort of thing that we're here to talk about is that the future of home automation, whether people like it or not, is really moving towards do-it-yourself, more out-of-the-box solutions. And I do believe firmly that there's always going to be a market for professional integrators and the more customized, fully automated, fully programmed sort of systems. But
Right.
I do believe that the bulk of the market share is shifting towards these more, I don't know, I hate to use the term cookie cutter because I feel like it's a little disparaging, but I don't see it that way. Sort of more cookie cutter type systems. So.
Right. And, it's only a matter of time before something comes out that handles more than what, I mean, the only thing I see that's not being taken care of by some of the smaller systems that we talked about last week is audio video. Audio video control is a tough cookie to crack.
Yeah.
And true. Yeah, it's a database of IR drivers and RS-232 and in a pretty tough steep learning curve, I guess, to get everything set up correctly and programmed correctly. And I think there's going to be a day soon where the setup is, one cable goes from here to here. The programming is non-existent and, it's true plug and play operation, which, plug and play's got a bad name, but it's coming. I mean, there's no reason for it not to at this point.
I agree completely.
So what else? There was, speaking of, we found a little plug and play device that was launched this week.
Yeah.
Called Beep. Well, and it's a wireless music audio system similar to Sonos.
Right.
They don't have, the only thing they're showing on their video, which was kind of a cool video, is Pandora, which is okay, as long as you're in the U.S.
Right.
If you're outside the U.S., you have nothing to do with, you can't even get Pandora.
Yeah, no, and I noticed that it says on their website, when will Beep support Spotify, RDO, web radio, etc. And right now it just says soon. So I'm getting the impression that right now it's strictly Pandora.
Yeah, it's just Pandora. They had an interesting, I mean, you can shoot music around the room, or it looks like they have some kind of some application where, a friend can come over, run the app on their phone and take over, what you're listening on the music, which is kind of cool, I guess. Your friends can come over and just play. Feature. Yeah. And then they have what looks interesting, I guess, that I was kind of reading about is the programming is all done in HTML5. So you'll probably see some web developers take to that, and the interface is all done in HTML5. So that means that there'll just be more developers for it, and it could get off the ground a little bit faster. It's kind of a funky looking device, though.
It is. And, for people listening, it's thisisbeep.com, and we'll definitely include a link to that in the show notes. But yeah, you're right. It is a very funky looking device.
It's opinionated.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, but the thing about it versus Sonos is going to come with speaker amplifiers and the speakers. This looks like all you can do is connect it to your current audio system. It doesn't have an amplifier or anything. So, but for $100, not bad.
So like with Sonos, you've got the option to get the Connect, which you can plug into like an AV receiver or an amp. You can get the Connect amp, which you plug into just
speakers,
a pair of like bookshelf speakers. I haven't actually read much about this one, Seth. Does it just plug into an AV receiver, or what?
Yeah, it looks like the Sonos Connect. Know, if you have a set of powered speakers, computer speakers or something, it would plug into that, and you can put multiple ones around the house. But you could buy 3 of these for one Sonos Connect. So, if it gets more services, it's definitely going to be popular.
Well, one to watch anyways. And I see on their website right now it says pre-order now. So it looks like this is still kind of a developing product.
Yeah, I think they had ships into the year sometime, maybe October or something. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But Oh yeah, we'll address your color choices later. So, yeah, the funky copper color
Must have received a number of emails on that one.
I don't know. It's kind of a neat looking device. So we'll see what they come up with towards the end of the year, and hopefully, competition is good. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's a good device, and we start seeing Sonos being a little more innovative too.
Yeah, definitely. So you had just a couple of quick follow-up items from last week, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, just a little bit of follow up. First, when I was doing the show notes, I noticed that Insider was no longer free. It's the program that we were talking about using for detecting Wi-Fi,
That's right.
SSID, which is the thing you see when you turn on your computer and connect to a network. That whatever you named your home network, it'll tell you what you have, near you, and you can determine what channel is best to limit your interference. That's moved off to its own product, it looks like, and they're charging $20. And I still say, it's every bit worth $20, especially if you have a business or if you're in a crowded condo. It's every bit worth purchasing, so you can see where to put your network out there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that they had moved to away from the free version one I have, and I know it still works. I still use it regularly, but looks like moving forward, you're going to have to shell out the $20. But I agree with you. I think it's definitely worth it. Just to know a little bit more about what's going on with your RF environment and be able to optimize your Wi-Fi.
Right. And the other thing I misspoke about smart things being a little proprietary. It looks like they're using Z-Wave devices, and this is one of those. I haven't done too much research on them because I kind of know that I want one.
Yeah.
So when I start digging really deep into this, I'm going to end up buying one of their kits because they have a really cool looking setup and a really neat looking app. So I may just get one of those and start playing around with it. But it looks like some of the devices they're selling are kind of like standard Z-Wave devices, which is really good for integration because Z-Wave is one of those kind of open protocol languages that manufacturers can build into their stuff to make it talk a little bit easier, and it kind of works well. We'll probably talk about Z-Wave in a later episode, but if they're using Z-Wave, it's a good thing. So
yeah, and it's on a different frequency than Wi-Fi and basically everything else, which is a good thing.
Oh yeah,
because it stays off of those crowded frequencies. But there's a whole discussion to be had there about pros and cons and advantages to doing that, and there are some disadvantages as well. But I do think Z-Wave is a promising technology. So yeah, I think we should get into the Internet of Things and kind of cover our main topic here and touch on that. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strange. When I first heard Internet of Things, I kind of tilted my head, like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, like you said, I sometimes I still do. It's one of those things.
Marketing.
Vague term, yeah. And if you talk to most people, like if I talk to my wife and I say, "Oh, this cool Internet of Things news came out," it's kind of like, "What are you talking about?" But a lot of people in home automation, especially professionals, but I think a lot of enthusiasts and do-it-yourselfers, I'm sure, are very familiar with the term, which has actually been around for quite a while. It was coined by a gentleman named Kevin Ashton, who's a British tech pioneer. He was a co-founder of the Auto ID Center at MIT, and they were heavily involved in the development of RFID standards, which is radio frequency identification. And he coined the term all the way back in 1999. So it's a term that has been around for a while, but it's catching a lot more buzz just as of late.
Yeah, well, that's interesting to know. I thought it was something that they kind of just made up this year for CES, but that's
right.
It's been around a lot longer.
I wouldn't fault you for thinking that. Yeah, we'll include a link in the show notes. But yeah, it's there's a lot of history to it, and it's kind of interesting to read about it because it's easy to believe that it's kind of this new concept when, in fact, it's a concept that's been around for a while. It's just that the technology is finally catching up.
Right. And I think the price point too. I mean, like we were discussing last week, the prices on everything have just come down. I mean, I was talking to someone today about sensors, which have been driven down, like a motion detector or a door contact that you'd have on your security system. There was a time when those were, $100, each. And maybe the wireless motion was $150. And those sensors have been driven down, into below $50 sometimes.
Yeah, very inexpensive.
Yeah.
So I guess we should actually sort of define it before we move any further forward. And basically, when we talk about the Internet of Things, we're just talking about a bunch of connected devices, right? And in its simplest form, sort of the quote-unquote dictionary definition of the Internet of Things refers to a uniquely identifiable objects and their virtual representations in an internet-like structure. And that's from Wikipedia. So a little bit dry, but basically what we're talking about is just smart devices and everything now being connected to the internet, from, like you said, motion sensors, smoke detectors, your refrigerator, you name it. So we've got literally billions of connected devices now, and there's all of this data just flying all over the place, and it's a little bit like the Wild West, but there are some really cool examples of companies out there right now doing some really neat things with this technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of have a funny story about a connected device that happened to me today.
Let's hear it.
Well, I was at a customer's house. He has a Sonos system, and his subwoofer was malfunctioning. And Sonos is a really good product, so when something goes down, we really like to get on top of it and find out what the problem is. And Sonos is pretty good about getting things turned around for us. It just doesn't happen that often.
Right. No, you're right.
So his subwoofer stopped working, and a fairly new subwoofer. And we get out there, and the Sonos is running tests, and the diagnostic that came back from tech support was the RAM has gone bad on his subwoofer. Wow. RAM. I mean, your subwoofer now has a computer built into it. So
that is wild.
Yeah, I'm sitting there listening to this and going, I'm living in the future now. This is it.
Yeah, it didn't used to get much simpler for us as professionals than installing a subwoofer, right? That was like the one thing you could count on in the system that was never ever going to fail. But now I guess it's different. We've got bleeding edge technology here.
Yep. There's a computer in there, and electronic devices are electronic devices. It doesn't matter who the manufacturer is. You're going to have a couple that have a bad part in them or something like that, and things happen like that. So It's not a very big deal that it happened. It's just I thought it was incredibly funny that I'm not used to that ever happening, and here we are talking about a computer term.
That would be a first for me as well.
So.
Obviously, other big companies in the news, Nest, just acquired by Google.
Yep.
Perfect example of what makes the Internet of Things significant. This company has two products, a thermostat and a smoke detector, sort of, right? I think it's like limited availability right now or something. It's not really a product that's penetrated the market yet, and they get purchased for $3.2 billion, I believe it was. And wow. It shows the power of what having a connected device can do, because that's been Nest's whole model from the start, is to take products that are not sexy or attractive or really products that anybody even thinks twice about, and to think about how they can redesign them to make them different and unique and appealing to people. And Nest is, I think, the sort of epitome of what the Internet of Things is all about and where it's all going.
Yeah, definitely. And you can tell by the name of the company, Nest, that they have more ambitious goals, if you will, where you can make your Nest, what you want. I mean, I foresee Nest really breaking loose this year, and I'm really hoping to see something come from them, because they really came out with some interesting technologies. I mean, with the thermostat and the way the design looks, but a connected fire alarm. Who would ever thought of that? But
Right.
it's a pretty good idea. So
Yeah, so I think really, I mean, there's tons of cool examples. Belkin has Wemo.
yep.
There's Doorbot. We can include a whole bunch of links in the show notes, and there's worlds of information out there about all these connected devices. But I think the real question is, so what? Like, what does this all mean? And that's really what I'm interested in watching, is how all of this technology develops, because I do feel right now like it's a little bit like the Wild West. And when I looked at CES this year, I saw some products that I was really kind of impressed by and thought, oh, that's a really cool idea and a very cool example of why the Internet of Things is important. And then I saw other ones that I was just sort of like, really? Like, one that I saw was like a Wemo has an association now with Crock-Pot, right? So there's like a internet connected Crock-Pot, but I always thought like the whole point of a Crock-Pot was that you just set it and then you walk away and you come back 8 hours later and you've got a really delicious meal, but like they're saying, oh, well, this product is so cool, it's connected to the internet, you can open your app and adjust the temperature on your Crock-Pot. Well, I don't know about you, but I cook semi-regularly with a Crock-Pot, and I've never once touched the temperature on it.
I don't even know what to think about that. I'm doing all I can not to die laughing.
Yeah, it was a little bit crazy, and it was featured on a YouTube video, right, as like one of the cool Internet of Things products that was featured at CES. But
of course it was. That's CES for you.
Yeah, it is, right? So I think it's important to think critically about the Internet of Things, and we focus on home automation. So our thing is really, how does this impact the home? And we have all this cool technology, but if we're not using it to make a more comfortable, more convenient home, then what's it all for, really?
Right. I think, there's definitely a push from many angles. I mean, you have the green angle, the health angle. The green, you're looking at monitoring your energy and making your house more efficient, because you may not know that some action you took to your thermostat, or some schedule point that you set up, actually raises your electrical bill and your carbon footprint, if you will, without that kind of data being collected and then fed back into some neat chart that the thermostat provider gives you.
Right.
It's data, and with that data, you can really do things with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and that's one of the things that I think about a lot when I read about the Internet of Things, is a lot of the applications that you read about are very interesting, and I can really see them making the world a better place. I don't mean to sound cheesy, but a lot of the applications are on sort of a macro scale, where big cities can use the Internet of Things and the collection of big data to collect information on energy usage. And there's the whole smart meters conversation that's going on right now. And all of that is great, but I really work one-on-one with clients every day in their homes, and I'm always trying to think of how this technology really applies at a micro level as opposed to a macro level. And I think that's the challenge right now with the Internet of Things, and that's what people are still, I think, struggling to figure out. And that's where I'm interested in watching, is how is this technology really going to improve my life and the life of my customers, and everybody out there who just wants to have a little bit more convenience or comfort or fun in their homes.
Yeah, exactly. It's that macro versus micro. If everybody had a smart thermostat in their house, maybe the entire city's footprint, our entire country's energy footprint would go down. Versus, what can you do in your house to just kind of contribute to that? And, I'm kind of the mindset that if I can do something that helps the environment, why not? I have the ability to. I have the free capital laying around, and, why not? It helps. It may cost me more money, but in the long run, it may be good for everybody else. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of applications for the Internet of Things that are positive benefits to people in their own homes, and so I think it's definitely interesting to watch. There was one product I saw at CES that I thought was pretty cool, and I know it got a ton of attention. Saw it all over Twitter and some of my RSS feeds and things. Was the maker of it, the brand is eluding me right now, but it was a onesie that a baby can wear. And did you see this? And
no, I didn't.
Yeah, so it's a onesie that you can put, you put your baby in it, and then it has a sensor, like this strip that kind of goes across the baby's like chest area, and it monitors like key vitals on the baby, and it'll send an alert to your phone if anything tragically were to happen, like breathing or anything like that. And I thought that was just a really cool and practical application for the Internet of Things, that that kind of stuff versus like a connected crock pot, right? You can sort of see the contrast there. But that's
right. I mean, that could save a life. I mean, that really could save a life. And a connected crock pot, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe dinner's cold when you get home, but
yeah. There's a lot of applications. I'm, as an integration and home automation professional, always looking for, sort of like what's the next trend in home technology and where is this all going? And one of the big growth markets is the aging in place, with all the baby boomers retiring and getting older. There's a huge shortage of caretakers and people to actually take care of them. And in addition to that, most elderly people are very unreceptive to the idea, and understandably so, of living in they want to live at home where they've always lived. So there's a big market there, and I think that's going to be one of the huge growth areas for the Internet of Things is in aging in place and caring for the elderly, and allowing them that comfort to live in their own homes, but still giving their children and caretakers the ability to monitor them from a distance.
Right, we've done a number of those types of installs here in Florida. Kind of made the joke last week that most of my clients are older, but that's one of those things that it can improve someone's quality of life, and kind of help their relatives too keep peace of mind, that they're living okay. So
yeah, and it's not even a joke really, but you work in Florida, and that is a big retirement community. So yeah, I'd be interested. Maybe we could do an episode sometime and talk a little bit about aging in place technologies and kind of where you see that market going.
No, definitely.
Another application is obviously security, putting, motion sensors in your home or cameras and all of that things that can just, for a very, very low price, you put them in and it senses motion and sends an alert to your phone. And there you go. You've got a pretty sophisticated security system that not that long ago, something like that would have cost, could have easily cost a couple $1,000s to get something like that put in.
Right. Yeah. I was doing a little research on this, and Alarm.com is a kind of a software service that is offered in conjunction with security monitoring accounts. But they have some really neat devices. They're like IP cameras, and they have a motion detector that takes pictures of it. It's kind of like one of those deer stand photo things, But it's smart that they've brought that into the house and attached it to a device that connects out to the internet, and it uploads a picture, so you can, if there is motion and you see something that concerns you, you could dispatch the police to your house. That's definitely a comfort for some people.
Yeah, and it's practical.
Right, right. And I had a funny thing I found this week where a guy set up some cameras and some smart things in his house. So the smart things, the brand, and was trying to see what his cats were doing. And it's a pretty humorous article about them sleeping on his pillows and that kind of thing.
Like that, yeah.
Cats.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I think you may have sent that over to me. That was fun. That was a good article. Yeah, so there's a lot of different, useful applications, and then some that just kind of strike us as silly, but I think it's extremely interesting technology to watch nonetheless. I think the real question in my mind is, what's it really going to take for this technology to become like a household name, I guess is the term I'm looking for, because for people who are even slightly inclined towards technology, the term Internet of Things now has basically become, common. It's like everybody knows what it means, but if I go say it to the average Joe on the street, they don't. So like, what's it really going to take for, and maybe it won't be that term in particular, but for this technology to really become something that people just take for granted, like the technology that we have today. And I think a lot of that's going to come down to, user interface development and companies that are able to take all of these different technologies and merge them into one smooth, unified user interface that a homeowner can just open up their iPhone and not have to switch between a dozen different apps to control all the different things they have in their house.
Right, right. It makes a lot of sense to go there. I kind of dream of one day having, right now we install just standard light switches in all these houses and they cost $1 or $2. And I'm hoping, one day the $150 light switches or $100 light switches that we have from Zigbee and Z-Wave come down to that price point, and we're just installing those, and it's expected that you have them in your house, so you can, get a visual graph on exactly the amount of electricity that you're using, and that kind of stuff is really, really cool. You can automate them. You can take that data and you can tell your lights to turn off through some software services, and there's some really good ones out there, like if this and that, which are super simple. It takes 2 or 3 clicks to set up a if this then that rule, if you will. I set one up this week. They sent me an email and I saw it there, and I set one up to turn my my Philips Hue lights red, white, and blue when the American teams get a gold medal, which it's
no, it's cool.
It took all of 20 seconds to do, and that kind of spur of the moment. There's not much use to it, but it is not as as profound as something like the onesie that could save a baby's life. But hey, it's right. Pretty cool that I can do that.
Yeah, no, but it cost you basically nothing to do it, other than the cost of the Philips Hue lights and a little bit of time, right? That's right. It. That's
checking my email, checking my promotions folder on Gmail. So
yeah, and if this then that is a perfect example. And we talked in episode 1 about Revolve, is another example of companies that are, I think, realizing the point that I'm getting at, and that's like the light switch is a perfect example. Belkin has Wemo, right? You can go on Belkin's website. You can buy a connected light switch, Wemo light switch. I'm looking at it right now for $49.99, and then you get the Wemo app, and you're done. You can now control that light from an iPhone app. But then maybe you have Sonos in your house, and maybe 1 or 2 other connected devices that have their own apps, and now all of a sudden you're switching between one app to turn the lights on, another app to do your music, another app, maybe to control your TV and cable, although that's really audio-visual control, like of components such as TV, really, we're not seeing a lot of that yet. But the point still stands that you've got all these different apps and connected devices that are still sort of living in walled gardens, so to speak.
Right.
And if this, then that, or Revolve, and there's other companies out there doing this that are sort of realizing that's kind of the real barrier, and giving you tools and a platform to bring all of this intelligence together under one unified interface, I think is really the next step.
Oh, definitely. All right, cool. It looks like we're pretty much wrapped up with the episode today, unless you have anything else to add in.
I think that covers it. We'll include some information about if this, then that in the show notes. It's IFTTT.com, I believe.
Right, and I'll link right to that recipe that had for the gold medals, since we've got one more week of Olympics ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Cool. Well, Jason, where would people likely find you on the internet if they wanted to follow up with you and ask you about if this and that recipes?
Yeah. At Jason Griffing, GRIFFING, at Jason Griffing is on Twitter is probably the best place to catch me.
Cool. And same place for me. I'm on Twitter at Seth P. Johnson. And that's Home Tech. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jason.
Right. See you next week. We recording?
Oh, yeah. We've been recording for 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. I just put a marker saying we're starting. So, all right, go ahead.
That'll be good. We should save that. All right. I was waiting for you. Okay, give me 1 second.
No problem.